As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, good evening on this Tuesday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lophon. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather at 6 here from the Room to Room Weather Center on a day that maybe we should be setting up outside on the patio. It is phenomenal out, and we expect it'll be just dry enough and just cool enough that we could be near record territory by later on tonight, and we've heard almost no complaints to this point here, considering the fact, it's August 26th. Unseasonably cool weather certainly in place this evening as we look outside of all of our cameras with some cloud cover out there. We'll look at a few of those locations here in a minute. We expect some rainfall does return before the weekend. We're looking at how much and where that's most likely come up here in just a couple moments as well. But of course, we're also announcing our Mississippi Live Game of the Week for high school football. So excited to be doing this and working our way through different communities. And we'll tell you which community we're heading to coming up here in just a couple of moments. But this evening, as we look at the first 12, 76 that temperature at 7 p.m. I mean, come on. You think back just a couple of weeks where we're mid-90s still at that point. This is a huge improvement, something that's not going to last a huge amount of time. We're 67 by 10 p.m., 61 by 1 o'clock in the morning, then dropping into the mid-50s by early morning on your Wednesday there. And again, that 57 within striking distance in a couple locations of where record low temperatures would be. But it's just a lens flare there outside in Crenshaw, and then a mix of cloud cover out there. No precipitation can come from any of that. Way too high to provide that. And honestly, anything we're looking at on the Mississippi Live Weather radar here in a moment just kind of sprinkles out there as well. 86 Rolling Fork, a sign that the cooler air has moved through a lot of spots, but you'll have to go that much further before things warm up a bit more there on some northerly winds. Again, appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers, all these cameras that we utilize here. A great group, a nonprofit in the area that, of course, you can support. You can see this stripe of blue showing up here. What we're looking at, temperature change of the last 24 hours, and this is perfectly positioned where we do have this fairly thick bank of cloud cover that is sitting out there. And you'll notice here on Mississippi Live Weather Radar that we do show some showers depicted there. Not a lot of meaningful moisture coming from any of those at this point. Our most recent front all the way down there in the Gulf of Mexico, it will eventually start returning with slightly milder conditions. We're not there yet. Still got a ways before that is the case. But all this rainfall, the majority of this isn't making it to the ground. And you'll notice here, if you just kind of look at the positioning on where it's at, I mean, maybe we had some sprinkles. I don't know about you. I saw maybe 1 or 2 on my windshield today. That was it. And this is largely heading south of us and away from us. So the bigger story is high pressure, and this has been bringing us the drier, cooler air. And as long as it stays in control, we have some of that. You don't have to go that far to the north to have some impacts there, though. I mean, come on, only 72 temperature in Omaha versus 75 Tupelo. So that is not a big change. But you don't have to go that far south to get back into near the 90-degree temperatures closer to New Orleans. On the wider shot here, this may be the bigger story. Dew points, always a measure of moisture based on the same scale as the temperature. And what we're looking at here is primarily dry air coming in from the north and west here that we've kind of had overtake the area. And that's not exactly the perfect angle that we should have it. Again, you had that high right out there toward Illinois. And so that's just generally kind of brought the dry conditions. I don't touch it for a moment here, across the region. I'm just so excited because anytime we're in the brown, that means it's not the summertime stickiness. But that's not forever because that high pressure, as that shifts east, starts revealing eventually where a little bit of moisture gets somewhat closer to us. But overall, our pattern continues with this generally northwesterly direction. Sometimes we'll call it northwest flow. Again, we got to name it simple for meteorologists here. And so that will bring us a couple of waves that will enhance some of the rain chances that we have. But a couple high pressure centers. I show the one up to the north there. I'm going to actually put on another one that you can kind of generally just see in the wind field down here closer to the coast. So these high pressure centers are largely the storyline here. I drew my arrow backward. Apparently I'm all backward today, Gabe, because it's too nice. My brain's like, why am I inside talking about this? It's my job. But certainly if your job is not being inside, take that phone out to the patio, at least for a couple minutes today. This almost never happens in August like it is out there. And again, we're dry overnight as far as the cloud cover is concerned. We have some of that there. We do show a little bit of moisture trying to make it down toward Monroe, Louisiana, down toward Yazoo City. That's as close as anything gets. And by your Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., while we have some clouds, mainly mid-level clouds, and not talking about much in the way of precipitation for that. We want to remind you that our meteorologist Maggie McCauley is joining us starting tomorrow morning on Mississippi Live Weather each weekday morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and 7:30 a.m. We'll have live coverage there, and we're super excited to have her get you started with an amazing day. Certainly that's the way the weather forecast is going to look, I think, the next couple of days. But over the next 24, as you'll see tomorrow, again, it's a little chilly as we're bundling those kids up. That school day forecast coming up here in a few minutes as well. We're 69 degrees by 9 a.m., 80 as we head toward noontime, and 84 for tomorrow afternoon under what should be mostly clear skies. Rain coverage, we're only looking very limited. Most of us, again, fairly dry until slightly later this week. But we're going outside now in the Pontotoc area, showing that mix of cloud cover, 79 beautiful degrees at this instant here on our camera located out there in Pontotoc County. I bring this up because it is going to be football time coming up Friday night, and we are excited for what that means. And that means our Friday night Mississippi Live Weather game of the week, and you decided here. We appreciate all of you that voted there on Facebook, on our various posts that we had up there. Almost 60% voting for Amory at Pontotoc. So that's where we're going to be on Friday at 5 and 6 o'clock. But we do still need your help. We need you to help submit pictures of your bands and cheerleaders. We're going to let folks vote on those as well as we work to select our band and cheerleaders of the week. We're so excited again to do this and just bring a little community spirit. Not that you need any of that in Pontotoc, considering it's going to be opening a new stadium, and we know with Amory coming to town, it's going to be a big game. So we're excited for that, excited to be a part of that, and welcoming you into what hopefully becomes a tradition for us here. But as we bring back to the Room to Room Weather Center, Pontotoc looking clear at this instant here. Coming up in about 60 seconds, our meteorologist Gabe Maynor will be looking at when those clouds start bringing more rainfall. We do anticipate it will end up being before the weekend. How much could we see? When does that arrive? We're breaking down that complete forecast as to when, of course, the cooler air like we have right now starts to retreat as well, as Mississippi Live Weather at 6 continues right after this.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's scary that it can be put into anything. We can't even see it or notice it.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Now, today was a day that not just humans enjoyed. Also, our four-legged friends taking a look outside, enjoying what is an uncharacteristic forecast this time of year. Natalie and Pontotoc submitting this photo. I love seeing our animals out and about. It actually is National Dog Day. Did you know that, Matt?
I did not.
Yeah, so I need to submit a picture of Duke for a dog walk forecast later.
I guess we could probably do that.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
I don't know. Maybe people should send us their dog pictures. I know you'd love to show those, and people love their dog pictures.
Well, that's what I want to say, too. Shout out to you guys, because I did challenge you guys yesterday to submit a few more pictures, and we got exactly that when I came into work. Don't worry, a smile lit up my face, getting to see all the pictures in action. Amy and Mathiston also showcasing what has been a phenomenal forecast cloud cover, keeping those temperatures at bay and, I mean, at below average still by a large magnitude. So Amy, thank you for submitting those pictures. 8 to 10 right now. We're getting a live look there in the North Mississippi Storm Chaser camera. 75 degrees, dew point still around 61, but those mid-level stratus clouds, that's going to keep a blanket over the sky, limiting how much of that last little bit of sunshine enters into the forecast. So we're not expecting anything warmer from here. We're definitely on the downward trend when it comes to our temperatures on our Tuesday. 73 Winona, wind still coming out of the north at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. If you're wondering where this dry forecast is coming from, well, it's where the wind blows in from, and that's that northern air. Winona, not the only one seeing 73 degrees, also towards Caledonia, mid 70s, so well below average for this time of year. Pretty much been at this level throughout our afternoons. So when we say it's a good forecast and when we're stumbling over our words trying to talk about it, it's because we're just in so much shock that we're getting to experience this in late August here in North Mississippi. Some areas, of course, getting a little bit warmer than others, but it's where that moisture is residing that's keeping those temperatures the lowest. Low to mid 70s across the region, 76 Grenada, Greenwood, and 73 around Cleveland. Go a few counties up north, and we're talking 81 Senatobia, 82 South Haven, and 80 over there in Union County towards New Albany. But the difference, that's the big story, because over the past 24 hours, you can see 5 to 10 degree temperature change over the last 24 hours for the good majority of us here in North Mississippi. That one area where we're seeing some of that warming trend, that's about a 1 degree difference. So pretty much copy and paste forecast or a highly diminished forecast for those temperatures. I mean, just a fantastic outlook and one that you rarely see this time of year. So towards tomorrow morning, we're talking about record temperatures at 5 o'clock this evening, and that 57 degree value is, for some folks up around Memphis, going to be a record, but Tupelo, that'll be right in the threshold of mixing into a record. 56 is where we need to reach to fully set that record that was set nearly 80 years ago. So hey, shows you a lot can change here in over a century away. 84 degrees on drop off, so it is going to be a cooler start but a warmer finish to the day. So one that we are watching still with a warmer afternoon. It's not anywhere near our normal averages for this time of year. But I know what we're going to be talking about. I know you guys are excited to get some more information on that. It's just the rainfall and how much we're seeing here over the next 12 hours or so as that moisture clears on out. Well, you can see 7, 8, 9 o'clock, those showers really push off towards the south, and we're going to be left with a much drier forecast here in North Mississippi. But this is another look at one of our short-range models, a strike model, which is typically more aggressive. And the reason I'm showing this is because pushing into our Wednesday morning, we are going to see those drier conditions prevail on both of our short-range models, showcasing a drier forecast for your Wednesday. That cloud cover steadily builds throughout the day, and that's where we will see a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy forecast to wrap it up. We'll see that in just a moment. Temperatures, this is what I want you guys to really take a look at, because some areas, 54 Alcorn County, 55 Boonville. I remember a week ago forecasting this. I just couldn't believe it, that forecasting 50 seemed like a out of the realm of possibilities. Now the fact that we are closer to 49 than we are 60 degrees up around Alcorn County, speechless just talking about it. The rest of us, upper 50s, low 60s, that is unheard of this time of year, and it's not going to last forever, but it's definitely getting us that taste of false fall. You can taste the pumpkin spice coming your way, right? So into the Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon forecast, that cloud cover continuing to build slightly more, and so that's what we're tracking, is that partly cloudy to mostly cloudy sky throughout our Wednesday afternoon. Now, as Matt was mentioning, a lot of these in the mid-levels, so not going to be that blanket of sky with those low-lying clouds that could produce a little bit of those showers. This is going to be that drier forecast once again, so even though there's a lot of cloud cover, there's not going to be a drop associated with it. So fortunately, what we're tracking is that drier forecast that we can get out and about for our Wednesday afternoon plans and enjoy them. But if those plans go a little bit later into the evening, that's when those showers will start to pop up once again. High temperatures, low to mid to even upper 80s, 90 in Greenville is a bit of a stretch, but upper 80s for sure, not out of the question, so make sure to accommodate for that, but still be ready because it is a below average forecast temperature-wise, even with a dramatic warming trend like what we'll have tomorrow afternoon. But heating to see showcase that drier air, so again, that moisture not reaching its way to the surface just yet. Wednesday night, though, things start to shift just a bit. That next disturbance moves in, and that northwest flow circulating in, that good bit of moisture by 9 or 10 o'clock, and so make sure to have that rain gear. Like I said, if you have any of those late Wednesday plans, as we are going to track a few of those scattered showers. But overnight into Thursday, that's when the best threat for rainfall moves in place, and that's going to be some moderate showers across the Mississippi Delta for our morning commute. Day goes on, and those showers progressively build towards the east, and several of those yellows, oranges, and reds showing up, showcasing some decent downpours as a result. Is it doing that thing with the cow? Yes. So looking at that forecast, we're still seeing the showers stick around into our 3 and 4 o'clock hour. That frontal boundary that you see on the bottom left of your screen, that's what's bringing in a lot of that moisture. So that's that disturbance that we were talking about. So as that lingers, the showers come with it. And so we're going to see a very saturated forecast throughout our Thursday. And some of those rainfall outputs we'll see in just a moment are pretty significant. So if you've not gotten those crops watered or not gotten those plants watered and you want a break from doing it, well, Thursday, I think we'll have a good shot about not having to go out and water those plants. But temperatures, because of the moisture in the air, taking a step back, similar to what we saw today. Mid to upper 70s expected for a lot of locations, whereas further south, where it's slightly drier, low to mid 80s. Again, our best threat for rainfall is going to primarily be on the northern side of the state, but those showers could trickle south. And that'll, of course, impact temperatures as a result. Heat indices, that drier air still dominating our forecast. But let's go ahead and talk about those rain chances. We have 0, I would argue 10% as we wrap up our Wednesday, but 50 there closer to Thursday. And then rounding out our work week, it's going to be right around that 30% threshold. So isolated showers continue to linger. But Thursday's rainfall output, I mean, we are showcasing 1 to 2 inches in a lot of locations, meaning that flooding rainfall is a definite threat. Now, this is the Weather Prediction Center forecasting some of their outputs. Sometimes they like to spread out the attack when it comes to how much rainfall we see. So the fact that we are seeing 1.75 inches Eupora, 1.5 inches Starkville, 2 inches down there towards Greenville means that they're forecasting a saturated forecast. Models are forecasting a saturated forecast. So flooding rainfall is a realistic possibility and one that we need to prepare for. That level 2 risk extending all across the Delta, but even east of 55 towards the Highway 45 area, Houston, New Albany, Starkville, even parts of Lee County in that level 2 risk, and then that level 1 extending into the state line there towards northwest Alabama. So this is for your flash flood threat, not a severe weather, but flash flood threat, which can be impactful in its own right. So let's go ahead and prepare. And if you are in those flood-prone areas, let's make sure to have a way to get out if those circumstances arise. 57 around 7, 80 by noon, 83 by 5, and we're topping out that low to mid 80 threshold. So it is going to be a time where we need to be of course, enjoying the forecast as it is going to be the drier part of our forecast. But in the extended forecast, that saturated air starts to really move in. Thursday, 50%, 30%, rounding out our work week and into the weekend. Some of our college football games will be dealing with some showers, but 30% is not exactly extensive coverage, so hopefully we get a few breaks, enough to play about a 3-hour game. Now, Friday night, there will be a few showers lingering in the forecast, hopefully not for our game of the week, but one will get a better idea of heading into the next 24 to 48 hours, and we'll, of course, keep you updated here at Mississippi Live Weather. Now, coming up, we've been talking a lot about northwest flow and how that atmospheric interaction is impacting our forecast, and so we're going to be walking through that forecast in a broad scale and walking you through what we're seeing in the air that's causing this. All of that coming up on Mississippi Live Weather in the next 60 seconds.
Community is the way we find our strength and share our hope. It's the way dinner on the table brings a family closer together. It's the way we make sure his first chapter book is the first step on his path to greatness. It's the way we rally in hard times and rise back up stronger than ever. United is the way we come together so everyone can thrive. Join us at unitedway.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I told you we're going to be discussing atmospheric analysis, so let's go ahead and get into that here in the Room to Room Weather Center. That moisture, that northwest flow associated on that upper level system, that's starting to circulate into our area just a bit more into the rest of our Tuesday. Now, our area is a bit of a stretch. I'm primarily talking about southern Mississippi as those showers push off more to the south. So this is going to be your best threshold of seeing those rain chances. North Mississippi not going to be as high, but still limited in fashion towards our evening plans. Now let's go ahead and walk into our Wednesday, and you're seeing that upper level system trend just a little bit more north. We have that higher ridge right there in the western United States, but that trough still dominating our forecast, providing that upper level flow, or that northwest flow, should I say, circulating in some of that moisture, but we just don't have it reaching all the way into North Mississippi. So fortunately for us, we do get one day where it's looking like a pretty much dry forecast all day long. So we are going to enjoy that and soak up that time while we can. because in the latter part of the week, we will literally be soaking up the forecast as those rain chances start to move in. So scattered showers and storms primarily going to be in the central United States, but that does shift more into North Mississippi over the next 3 days. So Tuesday, again, those isolated showers continuing to develop there towards the southern end of Mississippi. That's where the best chances are for tonight. But let's go ahead and move into our Wednesday, and you see where that large cluster of showers and storms, the heavier precipitation that we're seeing right there on our scale, that's primarily around Oklahoma, Kansas, I'm at your roots, and also there towards western Arkansas. But let's move it one more day, and we're going to be talking about that Thursday forecast and look at how heavy those showers do get as that northwest flow pushes that complex into North Mississippi. That's going to linger in our area basically all day long. So any plans that you guys have outside, I know it's been kind of sparingly used as the term washout this time of year, as it's usually isolated in nature. This would be the term, or the time where we use that term washout, because that's a realistic possibility for our Thursday, especially with those level 2 threats for flash flooding concerns. So day planner today, drier forecast, limited in moisture as all that pushes off towards our south, and we'll be enjoying a drier forecast for our Wednesday as well. But that moisture for Thursday, one that we're paying attention to, as that threat for flash flooding is definitely there. So 76 around 7, 67 by 10, and low 60s there by 1. Should be some breaks in those clouds towards tomorrow morning. So enjoy that little bit of sunshine, because mid-level stratus clouds are back in the forecast, kind of blanketing that sky just a bit. So we appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and of course getting the latest on that forecast. Fortunately, that drier, more tolerable air, less sticky air continues to be a big theme in our forecast, and will be so over the next 7 days. We'll have latest temperature outlooks coming up tonight at 10, as well as the latest look on the model runs for our Thursday as that complex starts to move in a little bit more. Again, no severe weather is expected. This is just going to be those torrential rainfall. It's going to be a pretty decent downpour for all of our Thursday plans. We'll see.
Okay, real quick. I want to dig a little deeper into that for a second.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
The reason is we are in, I would think by all accounts, we'd agree, a drought, right?
For sure.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull up, our 30-day percent in normal is not high, right? We have some spots that have done okay, but most locations we've got some rough, right?
Oh, that's isolated development. It's just not going to affect everybody, and so that's why you see a lot of orange with some greens popping up.
Okay, so when we start looking at the QPF on this over the next couple of days, quarter inch, well, let me clear that off. We'll add a few more spots in a second. Actually, might as well just do that. So tomorrow, and most of this is kind of late tomorrow, agree?
This would be probably post-church plans, I would say, for that timing, about 8 to 9 o'clock, and then into the overnight hours.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little closer. I wanted to pick your brain on this for a minute. So this is where some of that heavier rainfall arrives. So bullseye largely south of us, right?
So this is the Weather Prediction Center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were very high on their outputs around Greenville. I remember looking at that, but then comparing it to our strike model, which, as you know, is very aggressive. But the strike model had it primarily along the Tennessee state line. So while it's only showing about 100th to a 10th of an inch along the Tennessee state line, I would up some of these outputs if that complex were to remain there on the northern side of the state. So I wouldn't exactly say let's pay attention to the outputs showcased on the Weather Prediction Center. I would say the fact that we're talking about 2 inches in some isolated areas and that really big threshold down there about 2 inches, I could see that extending way more further north. And so I feel like
WPC has a tendency to underdo your main focus areas, right?
Yes, and its positioning, if we track this tomorrow, will change completely. And it's just very inconsistent with that. So I like to take the idea that it's trying to represent with rainfall outputs and showing 2 to 3 inches in some spots, and not really pinpoint it on their exact accuracy, but add that to our forecast and how models are trending in our eyes, and then basically put that forecast where we feel like it needs to be. So I would up this green there all the way to the northeast side of the state, especially with that level 1 flooding threat also in place, because a 1/10 of an inch isn't going to flood somebody. But 1/2 inch to an inch where those greens start popping up, definitely a realistic possibility. And so I would...
Yeah, but okay, let's... A 1/2 inch to inch actually flooding?
Flood-prone areas, should I say. It could. I've seen it. But of course, the 2 to 3 inches is where, we're expecting the most flooding to happen.
Yeah, I get that. I know I'm putting you on the spot on this here as we're talking back and forth on this. And luckily, I'm sitting here off camera with my head cocked to the side as we're talking. So I guess I should walk over to the camera. So
I have my head cocked too. So
talk in the 2 box over here for a moment. So let me bring that up here for just a second. Boxes, there we are. Okay, and I'm just I'm playing naysayer here for a second, because as a person with a wife that wants to see significant rainfall, right?
Yes.
When you say flooding rainfall, like ding, 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 ding goes off in their head. Well, maybe that means we'll actually legitimately get rainfall. So play me your worst case scenario on how this ends up being dry.
Well,
that's kind of what I'm interested in now at this point.
Worst case scenario.
And which
is
model would you
position.
go for on that? Would you go GFS on that?
So, well, Strike model does decent on the outputs. GFS kind of lines up well with it as well, with those rainfall outputs. And so you can kind of pull that up with Pivotal off screen if you want to kind of walk through that forecast.
Good call. We could do that here in a second. So I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna pull up Euro for a second. I'm sorry, GFS for a second. Is that okay?
I mean, you could do both at this point.
I'm gonna pull up on the main futurecast here, just the gross, rough GFS here, which again is very, very rough. So you can kind of pull that up for a second. I do not know, actually, let me double click in there if we do not have lots of pause points in there. So I just want to see again what the kind of roughest example. I mean, that's some moderate to heavy rainfall on a fairly widespread scale. We'll have some of those showers around. But I mean, you're talking your duration between 1:30, 2 o'clock on Thursday through maybe Thursday 9:30, 10. How much of that is convective? I mean, truly convective.
You said what's your worst case scenario? That's
well,
what
no, but I mean
on.
worst case scenario on dry, not wet, because I think worst case scenario is that we may have some patchy flooding. What is the worst case scenario on this doesn't produce enough rain? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, and it's a drier atmosphere that we're in right now, and so a lot of this stuff is going to dissolve. I wouldn't necessarily we're in a Virga trend, but there could be some on the outskirts that not reaching the surface, and so some of those rainfall outputs will be limited. And so I'm curious to see how large that complex is that develops and how much of that actually carries over into North Mississippi. I think a big thing that will tell us that is what's output tomorrow in Arkansas. Because that's all, it's northwest flow. It starts to move into our area. So if those rainfall outputs are showcased there in Little Rock or even there towards northwest Arkansas, well, that's what's moving into our area later on into Thursday. And so that'll be kind of a good idea of what to expect.
Okay, I'm going to pull up a different, you suggested, I'm going to go tropical tidbits, actually.
Either one.
And we'll bring that up. I'll see if I can get a clipped version of that. They've got a lot of advertisements on that website there. So give me just a second, see if I get it.
Yeah, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but it is a good website, especially this time of year. And is it locked? Hold on, I got to pull this up. We've got time, right?
Exactly. Well, and the positioning, I can keep talking about it for a second. The positioning of this complex will be a big driver in our forecast. I think there will be some people that are disappointed with the rainfall outputs because it will kind of be hit or miss on the outskirts of this. But if you're in the center part of it, you're going to see some decent rainfall outputs, and that's where those flood-prone areas definitely need to be monitoring it. But 2 to 3 inches, with some areas even higher, definitely a realistic possibility.
Okay, so give me a second to actually pop this up correctly. I got too many boxes up here, Gabe.
Your tabs.
Not smart enough for this. So you can see, again, this is one of our nicer looking models here. I'm going to end up popping it over here to one that's maybe not quite as pretty here, but we can show a few other projections here. I'm going to look at the European, which is one that I am a European apologist, if we're quite honest here. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate on this here with you, Gabe.
Euro is definitely lower end of the spectrum on this.
So what you see early Thursday, you kind of have this setup where you get in this trend where you have some decent rainfall. I wouldn't say that's
looking better. That's looking better.
I was going to say that's definitely more aggressive. You're looking at more than 24 hours worth of rainfall someplace. So I would say looking at that, I feel a little bit. That looks definitely more aggressive than kind of what we looked at a second ago there.
Does it make you think happy wife, happy life on Thursday?
Rain. If only it's that simple, right? it's one extra thing checked off. I think that is kind of a good sign there, actually. That Euro has as much as it kind of has there, and then it tries to do whatever forms there along the East Coast. This time of year, there's always something.
Always.
But that's a pretty decent chance there. A lot of times we get in this northwest flow pattern. Big complex comes out of the plains. I don't know. That has kind of odd shape to it. It's not just big complex coming in and then, just kind of does its thing. So I don't know. That's an interesting way to look at that, Gabe. What do you think?
Well, and I think that we'll have a better idea of it, like I said, with what happens tomorrow, with the latest model runs that we get. Our 48-hour H-triple-hour model will actually come out around 10, and we'll have a good idea for the duration of the day of what to expect. And so that's what I'm going to air later on tonight, is one of our model runs we have not shown that should get a better idea of what's going to be provided. That's kind of our high-definition model run. But, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of questions, but hopefully a lot of answered prayers for some of that rainfall, because we are still in desperate need of it, as Matt was mentioning, with some of those percentage outputs over the last 30 days being on the lower end. And so, believe it or not, we still do need this rainfall. And so hopefully we can get that for our Thursday. Of course, latest model runs coming out at 10.
So thank you for doing a cross-examination with me. I appreciate it.
I mean, that's what we're here for. It's Mississippi Live weather underlined. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, the news end of this is coming sooner as opposed to later, where we have at least some news component to it. Just like we're adding another thing for tomorrow morning, our meteorologist Maggie McCauley, iOS, Android, free app there for those spots as we've always talked about, but this is what I'm excited for. 6:30, 7:30 a.m. Maggie is live. Finally, we're excited. She is so excited. And it's just part of the expansion of that early morning day part that we know so many of you already utilize the app. I was looking today. It's one of the most used times of day, as, of course, that's when you plan your day. So Maggie will be there for you starting at 6:30 a.m. We'll be live then, live at 7, live at 7:30 for the latest on your weather forecast. So excited to have that. And of course, Gabe's back tonight at 10 for the very latest on, of course, this overall trend. We'll see you then.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.